Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
Oscar BEVIS, IFL TV, MTK Global in High Wycombe today at Warriors Gym, joined by Amar Kayani. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you, man. How's it going?
All good, all good. This is quite nice because there are not many boxers that are local to me, so I just want to say thank you first off for coming to my house, out your way, picking me up, taking me over to High Wycombe. Do you know what? It's a nice little setup here, isn't it? You got two rings, you got some female work going on over there. Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
Yeah, it's quality, man. Honestly, my Stuart and John, the head coaches of this gym, man, they've done a quality job with it, and I've been training it for the best part of 10 years now. So yeah, man, this place been it from the ground up. I don't know if there's another gym before this we used to train at, but I've been training with Stuart and John for about 10 years, man. Been loving it, man.
He's a good bloke, Stuart, isn't he? You could just tell, you only meet someone, you get that vibe off them that they're sort of a good person, and then people who do anything for you, if they're in your corner, they'll back you.
Yeah, man. Stuart's my boy, man. Honestly, he's like an older brother to me. He's my main coach, but he's also like an older brother to me. We've been through a lot together.
I basically come today because I feel like boxing world needs to get to know you, because I know you've got a couple of good stories for us and everything, and you're a 2-0 professional at the moment, but obviously I want to take it right back. Let's get to know your roots, where you came from. Growing up, I know from growing up around sort of this outer West London area, that it's not the hardest life in the world, but it's not the easiest life in the world as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. Obviously, I grew up in Slough, and Slough's not a bad place to grow up in. It just depends how you grow up. And with me, growing up was a bit different. I was a bit of a troublemaker. I used to get into a lot of fights, as you do growing up in Slough. I'm pretty sure everyone got into fights, growing up in Slough. But yeah, that was one of the main reasons I started boxing, because I wanted to learn how to fight, literally.
And when you say you were fighting, these were street fights. You're that sort of story that loads of boxers have got. Boxing's what pulled you out of trouble, but it was street fighting originally. And you told me when we was on the way here, it weren't just the odd street fight. It was street fighting every day, wasn't it?
Literally, man. I know it's a bit cliche. A lot of boxers go through the same thing as me. They start as street fighters, or like troublemakers, should I say. With me, I initially started to learn to box just so I could be successful in my street fights. So it sounds a bit funny, but I used to get picked on a little bit when I was in year 7, in year 8, in year 9. And then I walked to the gym, I wanted to learn how to fight. And obviously when I learned how to fight, it kind of changed you a little bit. It builds your confidence. But for me, unfortunately, it built in the wrong way. So whereas before someone would pick on me, now when someone's looking at me at the bus stop, I'll be like, yeah, what are you looking at? And then we'd end up fighting, man. It was really quite bad. I used to get into a lot of fights, and I've got loads of battle wounds, if you want to say. My teeth in the front of my face, still fake teeth, majority of them. I had operations on my hands, been cut face, cut eyes. It's not a good lifestyle. I wasn't no Kimbo Slice enough, Masvidal. Nah, it wasn't none of that. It was just street fighting, because everyone wanted to have a name, and I wanted to build mine by fighting, if that makes sense. It was stupid.
And it wasn't even fighting for a reason. Not that there is a reason for street violence, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like you had a reason to. It was more of just a reputation thing. You were actually fighting people just for the sake of fighting.
Yeah, growing up, literally, growing up in Slough, everyone wanted to be respected, and I thought the way I'm going to get my respect is by getting into these street fights, and it was a really, really bad mentality I had at that time. So, for example, we'd organise fights. If I was in my school and there's another school, we'd meet up somewhere neutral and we'd fight till the death. Now, joking. We'd fight, but it was stupid, man. It was really, really bad. And after school, went to college, and carried on, had that same mentality. I was just fighting with anyone. If someone looked at me wrong, we'd just start fighting. The bullies that used to bully me, we ended up beating them up, and it was really bad, because it come to a stage when I was fighting so often I had to go to court, and I actually had a GBH Section 18 and 21 charge. Alhamdulillah, I didn't go to prison or nothing. And then, if I did, I wouldn't be here today. But because of that story, that's what got me serious about boxing and about Kayani camp and about training other kids and stuff.
Yeah, I want to come on in a little bit to Kayani camp and training all the kids that you train and some of the work that you've done. But yeah, what sort of puts that pressure on a young kid? Because it's easy to just go, things weren't going my way, I wanted to be the hard man, I wanted to fight. But is there sort of other pressures you think that as a kid made you want to turn for a period of your life to a time like that?
Yeah, literally growing up, everyone wants to be respected, everyone wants a name, man. I had a bad mentality. I thought, if I want to be respected and have a name for myself, I don't want to sell drugs. I don't want to be the guy that goes to the parties and everything. I'd rather just fight and just beat up the troublemakers. Nah, it sounds stupid, but it was a bit of a dark time in my life, man. Like literally fighting a lot, and then I had operations on my hands, my face. But now, alhamdulillah, we've come through that, and now I'm just training full time. Literally, I think 2016 when I won the nationals is when I started taking boxing seriously. And to be honest, I've only been boxing seriously full time for about 4 years now. I've been training for a lot longer than that, but I wasn't really taking it serious till we won the national title the first time.
We'll come on to your amateur career as well, and I know I just seem like I'm festering around this whole sort of youth of yours and the story of how you come up, but sometimes that fighting does go too far, and I know you've been involved in things like this, and we're seeing the rise in knife crime, etc. But you know, sometimes fighting can go too far, and you said to me, if it weren't for boxing, there is potential you could either be dead, you could be in prison. So sometimes fighting does go that little extra mile, and you never know when that could have happened. Even 2 more months in that sort of lifestyle. Do you know, what I'm saying?
Nah, for sure, 100%. Like, if it wasn't for boxing, I wouldn't be here today. I might have been in prison. I'm probably selling drugs or something. I don't know. It wouldn't have been like boxing literally saved my life. I know a lot of people say it, but genuinely, boxing and the coaches down here, they helped me a lot, man. They put me on the right track. Like, because of boxing, I ended up going to uni. I ended up graduating with a law degree. I ended up actually now, like, the kids in my area that when I was growing up, and like, they used to look up to me for being the troublemaker. Them same kids, because I've started boxing now, they've taken a turn too. They've got off the streets a little bit. They come train with me. If any of them need someone to speak to, they ring me. Even at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, they can ring me, ask me for advice. So it's good now, man. It's way better than it used to be.
Kayani camp, so I'm just going to pan down to your jumper. Yeah, I mean, to be in the position you're in and still be so young and such a novice in the pro game and have your own sort of setup, your own little camp where you're training these kids, yeah, I suppose that came from you wanting to give back and not have people go down that same path.
Yeah, like, it was credit to the coaches here. Like, obviously, I was training here, and they've advised me how to run it and how to train kids. Literally, everything I learned was from the coaches down here. How Wickham, Stewart, and the rest of the coaches. They taught me to do pads. And yeah, so what we started doing, initially, we started Kayani camp just for like the really bad kids. They used to come to my house, and I used to have them in my back garden sparring each other. There used to be like 50 of us, like literally just in a circle, sparring and doing pads and doing working together. And then what happened is, as I started boxing in the amateurs, and I did quite well, a lot of the kids used to ring me and say, "Oh, can you teach me to box?" When I learned to box. So initially, we started renting a hall twice a week with our own money. We literally just put our work our weekend jobs, whatever. We started putting into that. Kids started coming down. We started training them. We trained most of the kids free of charge if they couldn't pay for it. It wasn't really expensive, the hall, anyways. It was about £60 an hour or something. But we used to train them free of charge. We used to be there for 2 hours, literally every week, non-stop. But now we've literally, a lot of people come down now. So hopefully by the beginning of next year, we should have something set up, like a proper amateur setup. Because thanks to literally the kids coming down to the gym, we've managed to accumulate enough funds to open something proper for them. And if we can get an amateur setup sorted out, it'll be lovely.
Have you actually got kids down there that you look at and think there is talent, not just to keep fit and get off the streets, and sort of, I know that's sort of one of the main aims of Kayani camp, but you look and see that there's kids who have the talent to go and succeed in like some amateur form of boxing and potentially take that sort of route in their life?
Oh, there's loads of kids, man. I could start mentioning the names, but I don't want to miss anyone out. But the kids from Kayani camp, from the young ones, like there's Azan and Ilyas, they're really, really good. And even some of the seniors, their quality, like you see some of them boxing, you think these guys got very, very bright futures.
You place as much importance on this whole Kayani camp you're trying to push and the sort of lifestyle you're trying to tell people to avoid now? Do you place a lot of importance on that, or even more so than you do your own professional boxing career?
Do you know what? They're hand in hand. Literally, they're both like, as much as I try keeping people off the streets, whatever, and train them, I'll train them free of charge. If someone rings me today and says, Amar, can you do a session with me today at 6 p.m? I haven't got no money. I'll train them. I'll just train them just to keep them off.
The enjoyment factor as well.
Yeah, man, I enjoy training them, and because if I know it's a bit of a troublesome kid, or if it's a teenager that if I'm not training him, he might be out doing something else, I'll train him. And yeah, I mean, this goes hand in hand, my professional boxing career and Kayani camps. I want them both to succeed just as much as each other.
And I know you said your dream is to sort of get a proper amateur setup going and perhaps somewhere a bit more permanent as well. Yeah, what else are you sort of trying to push it with? Could this be bigger than boxing? Could this be something, I don't know, turn into more of a youth club? What's your sort of dreams and aspirations for Kayani camp?
Yeah, Kayani camp, more than a boxing club, it's going to be somewhere where the youth can spend some time and they can speak about problems. I want to give knife crime seminars and just explain to them the repercussions of crimes and activities. We want to go the whole way, because even the children and the teenagers we train now, some of these kids, if you saw them like before they come Kayani camp, like they'd be on the street selling drugs and carrying knives. But once they start coming Kayani camp, we slap them around the back of their ear and just tell them, you need to stop doing this. But hopefully, as my professional career progresses, I can build Kayani camp from there. Like I told you before, like one of the stories that really stands out to me is I used to be working night shifts in Tesco. And obviously, as I was working my night shift, a couple of lads come in. I don't want to go into any details because some people may know who they are, so I'm not going to talk about too much about who they are. They came in, I was working my shift. The lads were a bit tipsy at the time, so they tried to get some drinks, and obviously the lady at the checkout, she didn't serve them because they were a bit drunk. So obviously me being me, they started getting a bit rowdy to her. I just told them to calm down, leave Tesco. Now obviously the lads, they didn't take it too well that I told them to leave. So now I've told them to leave, and they've said to me, oh, we'll see you outside. And I'm like, oh, they ain't going to see me outside. So I was with one of my friends, shout out Stefan, because he's probably going to watch this. He was with me. So we both went down. As we're going down, we didn't expect to fight or nothing. We just came downstairs, and he's just chilling with me. We're just in like the break area. And then same guys that were trying to get served inside, the guy come to me and he just grabbed me around the collar. And he said, you didn't want me to get served that drink. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? Literally, as soon as he grabbed me, and growing up in Slough, as soon as someone grabs you, it's fight or flight mode. You've got to do something about it. So the moment he grabbed me, he squared up, I squared up. We just, obviously what happened. I hit him with a couple of punches. He fell down, I jumped on him, hit him a couple more times. Literally, I didn't hit him more than I needed to, literally just to self-defense. And now, the main point of the story is, so after that, like an hour or two later, I went back to my shift, washed my hands, whatever. This guy come back into Tesco, and he had like a massive Rambo knife on him. And he chased me around, that's called like Tom and Jerry. So I was sprinting in front, and he was sprinting behind me for about a good 15 minutes, just trying to hit me with his knife. So I was like, shit, man, this is a bit crazy. And the reason I tell this story to a lot of people is that same guy was actually a decent guy. 2 weeks later, not even 2 weeks later, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks, that guy was found dead. He got because of a knife crime. And I always tell that story to people, if you're going to carry a knife, it's always going to end up worse for you, because majority of knife crime happens to the people themselves that carry the knife. So like, it's a bit of a mad story, man. The guy, he chased me around Tesco. 2 weeks later, he was stabbed and killed. So it's really bad. So like, I try telling some of the kids that if you're going to carry a knife, it's literally the worst possible thing you can do, because you're going to end up getting it used on yourself.
You're a bit of a face in Slough. Would you call yourself like if Slough has an A-list celebrity? I suppose David Brent, but you as well?
Nah, never, man. Never an A-list celebrity. The thing is, I just come from bins. We weren't groomed into this fight game or nothing. We weren't groomed to fight. We weren't groomed to box and become world champions. We were just living life, and we learned to fight because it was like a means of survival. You had to learn to fight if you wanted to be respected somewhat, or you didn't want to get beat up. So me growing up in Slough, I would never say I'm a celebrity. I mean, people know me. They know me for the right reason, know me for the wrong reason, but I'll be happy if people just hear my story, and they get motivated to just come off the streets and carry knives and everything.
You're just playing yourself down. You are a celebrity.
No.
So you won the amateurs in 2016, and you said that's when you started taking boxing seriously. And I suppose it's a good start if you weren't taking it seriously and you could win sort of an amateur national tournament. That already shows that you got the talent and skill there. So as soon as you sort of won that amateur setup, that gave you that tunnel vision. Yeah,
literally after that, I think it was 2016, me and Stuart, we entered the Class B Nationals, and we won it with like 11 fights or something. And we entered it, we literally, I don't think we lost around at that tournament. We beat everyone, we beat some really good boxers in that tournament. And once we finished that, that's when I actually started thinking, I can do this as a career. I want to do this as a career. Before that, I was kind of just boxing for leisure. 2016 is when we kind of talked about turning pro at some point. We entered the ABAs a few years after that. And I thought, personally, I think I was going to win. I think the ABAs entered was last year. I think I would have won it, but I got cut off my, amateur refs and judges, as soon as they see it, they think he's not going to carry on in the tournament anyways. So I just scored it to the other guy. But I knocked the guy down in the ABA, so I don't know, I think I should have gone a bit further.
And you fought a few heads as well. You told me you fought Denzel Bentley as well, so you fought a couple of guys who are now making moves themselves. Yeah,
I fought Denzel. I don't want to keep banging on about it though, because like that one guy, like, Carl Frost at 80,000 in Wembley. I don't want to keep banging on about it. Every time I get an interview, they ask me about it. Yeah, I beat him, but that was in the amateurs. I mean, obviously I'd love to fight him again as a pro, but I have to pay him his respect. He's quite well, he's done really well as a pro. He's British champion, man. But I have to give him respect. He's come from Battersea. I know there's a lot of knife crime there and stuff as well, so I have to respect him, man. He's doing well. Hopefully he goes the whole way.
That's what us interviewers are like. You're going to have to get used to it. We're trying to build those little British rivalries. So yes, you're doing well in the amateur setup. And what was the motivation to turn pro? Was it basically, if I'm going to get punched, I might as well get fucking paid?
Yeah, it was that. And it was just like, obviously everyone wants to win a world title. That was the first thing when I won a national. I thought, you know, if I could win a national title, I'll go win a British title. But then, yeah, I mean, obviously I want to win a world title, but more than that, I want to have financial stability for me and my family. So I want to be able to just buy something and not think about it for my dad or my mum. Do you know what I mean? Because my mum and dad had a hard life growing up, so I'd love to give it back to them. And more than that, I want to inspire a lot of other kids that they can go the whole way. Not just like, if you come from the streets and just from knife crime and fighting, you don't just have to stay in that lane. You can just switch over, turn pro and start making some moves.
And how are you finding life as a pro? Because it's not as glamorous as people think all the time. I know, what was it last night or a couple of nights ago, you were sparring in a car park using the 2 parking bays as a ring, so it ain't as glamorous as people make out.
Yeah, it's not, man. Like, obviously, as a professional boxer, I try to train every day. Well, right now, we're out of camp, so we're still taking over. We're still doing a couple of days in the gym. I'm still training pretty much every day by myself. Yesterday night, I had a phone call from one of my friends saying, "Oh, should we arrange some sparring?" So he rang me about 8, 9 p.m. We ended up going down to the track. So we ran like 5K, like, 6K. After that, we literally sparred 6 rounds in the car park in 2 bays. So shout out Hassan, my boy. Yeah, we did some good work yesterday, man. It was quality. You know, them spars, you learn a lot from them spars, man. And just probably throw hammer and tongues at each other in the car park. You do nothing like a car park spar.
You're going to have to get us to come down with a camera one day, because I'm sure there'll probably be some good footage there.
Bro, literally, anytime you want. I swear, I think we're going to spar in the car park in a couple of weeks. So if you want to come down, you're more than welcome.
One of the weirdest setups I'd have filmed in. So how are you finding life as a pro then? Obviously, like I said, it's not always as glamorous as people make out, but you are a professional boxer. You can dedicate your life to it now. You're 2 fights deep. How have you found sort of the whole process of the last year or so? Because I know it's been stopped a little bit with the whole pandemic, but how did you find that sort of, I don't know, what was it, a 5-month gap from your first fight and your second fight? How did you find that little period?
Oh, I loved it, man. Like, professional boxing for me, it's way better. The way we do the pads, the way you train, the intensity of the rounds, like, you know what to put it on. You don't have to be busy for every single minute of the round because you know you've got more time. But yeah, professional boxing, we're working more on power now, so now I can get used to throwing my power shots and getting in the pocket a bit more. We're learning inside and head control. So yeah, I prefer professional boxing way more than amateur boxing for various reasons. But I think one of the main reasons is now I can let some more power go. In the amateurs, you don't think about power punching. You just think about letting your hands go as many times as you can, just stay accurate, get out of the way. But in professional boxing, you can think about powering up some shots and landing some shots. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Because of your success as an amateur and winning that national title in 2016, people would probably presume that you've got like quite a slick style, that back foot boxer counter punch. You know, like your typical amateur style. But is that what it is? I mean, have you got anything you'd bring into the pro games that you didn't show in the amateurs? Are we going to expect these big highlight reel knockouts?
Do you know what? I think in the amateurs, I had a few knockouts, but I think in the pros, you're going to see a lot more from me. A lot more knockouts from me. I'm not saying I'm the hardest puncher, but I could punch quite hard, and hopefully I'm going to demonstrate in my next couple of fights. But in the amateurs, I was always quite a slick boxer, if I must say so myself. So I'm still going to be slick. I can put it on. We're learning different stuff now, different things. We're learning to fight in the pocket a bit more. Something I didn't really do much in the amateurs. I mean, you don't have to in the amateurs, do you? You just kind of fight in and out. In the pro game, we're learning how to fight in the pocket a bit more and landing power shots.
Do you feel more pressure as well? Because a loss in the amateurs, I mean, you told me you lost about 5 or 6 times in the amateurs. That's no detriment there. Like, it's not done your career any harm. Whereas a loss in the pros, especially early on in your career, when people immediately take their attention off you. Yeah,
no, definitely. And not pressure, but you know you can't lose. But then, like, you know, even these journeymen, they're not just here to lay down. They don't want to be made to look stupid. They want to come fight. And you know, every now and then a journeyman has to win a fight. So I'm just waiting for that one guy to come, so you know he can put it on me and I can knock him out.
And you're with Steve Goodwin as well. Did you have a lot of people sniffing about? Because as soon as you win that national tournament, in the amateurs, I'm sure you got those people out there scouting and keeping their eyes on people. Did you have people sniffing about when you were looking to turn pro?
I mean, I emailed a few promoters and a few managers.
You actually you went out there yourself and done the search?
Yeah, I did it because I didn't really make it. I didn't really let everyone know I was turning pro. I just kind of emailed across a few promoters and a few managers. I met with a few people. I met with Steve and he stood out to me. Literally, he was the most nicest guy. He explained to me the ins and outs of the game. And when he talked me through everything, it was a no-brainer to go with him, literally. So if any pros out there looking for like a good management team, I don't want to just plug Steve Goodwin, but like he's really good, man.
And they've got a lovely little setup, like their York Hall shows. They've got that professional feel as well. So did you automatically feel like you was in the company, in the bubble of people who are well respected and can put a good bit of production on. Because if you're a pro, you want to be fighting on shows where you consider yourself like you're under the lights a little bit and there's a little bit of glitz there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Because you never overshadow too much of them shows. Because one good thing about Steve Goodwin is he did so many shows in the year, so you can get on loads of times. And you know, I don't know, I'm not too sure about who he had previously, but this next upcoming talent he's got loads of really good boxers coming up now. I mean, obviously, I've got a friend called Shocky. He's a sick boxer. He's gonna be up there, and obviously got Linus Udofia and everyone. So he's got a lot of talent coming up, man.
And you look at those boys and you think that's exactly where I can get to if I follow that path. Because like you said, Steve will keep you active. I think I saw a list on Twitter actually of his Southern area champions, his English, his British, and there's quite a lot of people that he's taken to that level of sort of success, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Steve's a really good manager. He could take you a long way. It's just about yourself, how much you put in. Because a manager can only take you so far. It's about what you want to do and what you're willing to risk and how far you're willing to go. So I'm pretty sure, like, within the next few years, we're going to look for some, even next year, we're going to look for some titles. I'm going to bang on him, I'm going to nag him about it. Try to get me in there for a title shot.
How hard have you found this period? Because I could tell how much you love boxing and how much it's making you smile and the thoughts of what you can achieve. But it's died. The small scene's completely dead. And unless you're backed by the likes of Sky and the likes of BT, you ain't getting out at the moment. How hard have you found this period?
Yeah, small hall shows, I mean, there's been nothing on for us. I mean, I haven't really found it that hard because I believe whatever's written for you is written for you, obviously. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Even if I don't box a lot this year, we'll make up for it next year. Because I spoke to Stephen, we've organised something. We're going to get more fights in a shorter amount of period. So instead of fighting every 3 months, we might fight like twice in 1 month or something. So we're going to organise something to make up for the fight to miss that this year, next year. So not missing out too much. I think just this time here, you just get more time to improve, practice, and just work on stuff. So it's all right. It's all right.
Banging. And now it's call out time. Anyone at 154, innit? Is that how it works?
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't want to call anyone out just yet because I've only had 2 fights deep. But I mean, if anyone puts a challenge forward at 154, whatever, from 69 to 81, like 69 to 91. Nah, joking. Nah, yeah, literally. I don't want to call anyone out just yet, man. Hopefully, I want to prove myself a little bit more. I want to beat some contenders. I want to beat some good fighters before I start calling anyone out. Because I know how YouTube and everyone are. They're going to start roasting me if I call someone out right now. When you become a professional boxer, you start watching it as a fan and you start watching it as a competitor. So one thing I'd say for sure is like every single time I watch someone box in my weight division, I'm always looking about what they did wrong, what I can count, like what I can react to and improve on. So yeah, every time I watch it, I always watch it from a competitor's position, man.
Well, look, hopefully, for your sake, that's what's going to get you to the top. And yeah, you're doing good work inside the ring, good work outside the ring. You wrapped up 25 minutes with the biggest boxing channel in the UK. So come on.
No, I appreciate IFL TV for coming down. I remember watching the IFL TV when I was an amateur, and I used to think to myself, one of these days, I'm going to be in an IFL TV interview, man. So hopefully, I'm there now, innit? So I'm just grateful you guys come down, gave me the time. And hopefully it'll make me rack up some more W's, some knockouts, and we'll get a few more in, man.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.